friends, welcome back to my channel. Sass here. I'm here to do another review of 90 Day Fiance Happily Ever After. To my new subscribers, welcome to the family. Y'all, we getting closer and closer to that 1,000. I'm not quite sure if I'm going to hit it on my birthday. My birthday is August the 13th, but we are trying. I appreciate y'all. All right, let's get started, okay? Let's talk about Angela and Michael. Let's get them out the way. Y'all, they getting on my nerves. They are really getting on my nerves. Nothing new. Same old, but let's talk about it. So we have Angela and Michael. They are in their bed. I smelt it through the screen, child. That's another story for another day. Anyway, she gives him his suit that he's going to wear for their wedding day. And you know, he has a little surprise for her. He wants her to meet up with his homeboy and his homeboy's friends. The ones that do that dual citizenship, you know, part-time in Nigeria, part-time in America. I think that homeboy lives in Atlanta, or the girl, one of them. So they're in the car, and so she's like, well, where are we going? And he was like, well, I want you to, you know, meet up with some friends. Because I'm thinking, you know, let me just run this by you real quick. Maybe you can move to Nigeria. And she said, do what now? She said, that's not going to happen. And he was like, well, I will, you know, I want you to meet some of my friends who do that. You know, she was like, well, what is this about? I mean, they stay here part-time and then United States. And, you know, he was trying to say dual and he was saying dial. And she was like, listen, I'm not about it. I am not moving to Nigeria. I got a whole family over in the United States. My mama's sick. I have a daughter. I got 6 grandkids. My life is in the United States. I'm not living in Nigeria. So before they get there, she already had a bit of an attitude. How dare he ask her to move to Nigeria? How dare y'all put on this show for us? So they get there, and you can tell there's already tension. She already got an attitude, and who's sitting there? 3 pretty girls. And honey, she was like, oh no. Honey, Michael done got the sweating, child. She wasn't even there 6 seconds. Didn't introduce themselves, nothing. She was like, She said, I'm out of here. And then she was like, nice to meet you. She started shaking their hands, and they was looking at her like she got 2 hands. Like, look at this heifer. What is going on? She didn't even want to hear anything they had to say. Do you want to know why, friends? It's because the minute she seen those 3 pretty women, it was a wrap. Okay? Now, we already know that Angela is very jealous of Michael. She don't want him on Instagram. She don't want him liking pictures of women on Instagram. She don't like him even talking to women. And now he's been talking to women, mean-nosed women behind her back. A storm is coming. And what is that storm called, y'all? Broad back Angela, honey. Her and her leggings, child. Honey, she was hot. She said, that is it. I'm tired of this. Who do you think you talking to? Why are you doing this? And of course, she called off the wedding. How many times have we heard that, y'all? For the 80,000th time. I'm not marrying you. I'm not marrying you. We ain't getting married. Blah, blah, blah. She gets into that. What kind of car was that? A 1993 Taurus. Honey, it was lean to the left, child. Gets in that car and she screams at the top of her lungs, shut up! Shut up! Again, we have seen and we have heard this before. And she says, I don't know what Michael was thinking. What's he doing talking to these pretty girls? So she didn't use that term. That's what I use. Because, see, we all know what it's about, right? Okay. We all know. Once she seen them, it was a wrap. So, of course, she is fussing. He was like, I cannot believe you acted like that. You screaming, you yelling, you embarrassed me in front of my friends. How could you do that? And she was like, what are you doing talking to them girls? He was like, look, my homeboy supposed to have been there. If you would have waited and quit throwing a temper tantrum, maybe you would have met him, okay? He's supposed to have been there too. She was like, man, go to hell. So while they are fussing inside of the 1995 Taurus, lean to the left, honey, she gets a phone call from her daughter. Now, y'all remember, her mama's not doing well. Her mama is sick, okay? So her daughter said, listen, grandma's not doing well. She talking out her head. And so here is Angela trying to have a conversation with her daughter while she done had a heated conversation with Michael about some girls. So come to find out that her mother is going through some dementia problems, and she has all kinds of problems. But Angela chose to get on a plane to marry Michael. Now she's sitting there talking about, you know, I'm stressed, I'm worried. Here I am that flew this whole way. Michael don't appreciate it. He don't know what I'm going through at home. Shut up, Angela. No one told you to get on a plane and go over to Nigeria while your mother's sick. You chose to do that. So I really don't want to hear your belly aching about how you feel bad if something happens to your mom while you are sitting in that 1992 Chevy tilted to the left, arguing and fussing with Michael. We have heard this time and time again. Do y'all have anything else to add with Angela and Michael? Because I'm done talking about them. Just ridiculous. Let's move on. All right, let me make this real quick, okay? Syngin and Tanya. Now, as we know, Syngin and Tanya, honey, they got their own problems, okay? Syngin is this close to going home. He is homesick. They ain't working. The bills are piling up. And, honey, they went to dinner and they had an argument, okay? So they having their problems. So he calls his brother. And his brother, who lives in South Africa, isn't doing well, child. He is sick. He was in the ICU. He had a blood clot in his lung. And so, of course, you know, Syngin, he is so worried. Him and his brother are extremely close. And he says, listen, okay, now while I was over here, my grandmother died. And I wasn't there to, you know, be with her, to tell her I love her, to support the family. I was over here and I couldn't go back over there. And I don't want anything to happen to my brother, because if something happens to my brother while I'm over here, I don't know. I would never, ever, ever live that down. So he says, listen, I want to go back to South Africa. I need to go and see my brother. So he meets up with Tanya, and basically they just had a conversation, and he told her, he says, listen, my brother's not doing well, he's sick, and I need to go back home. What you think about that? And so she says, listen, okay, I'm not going to stop you from going home. That's your family. He's sick, he needs you, I know you're worried about it. Do what you have to do. And so he was like, you want to go with me? She was like, do you want me to go? And he was like, listen, he's my family, you're my wife, you're my family, okay? We need to go. She also brings up, you know, the last conversation they had at dinner and how awkward it was, and how they were, you know, going back and forth with each other. And, you know, she says that Syngin is ready to pack up everything and just burn the road up. Okay, that's what she's worried about. And she also says, listen, what if we go over there to South Africa and Syngin don't want to come back? Well, that's a chance you're going to have to take, Tanya. Like I said last week, I am not understanding Syngin and Tanya, child. They are just so weird to me. Their relationship is odd. But anyway, so I guess Syngin and Tanya are on their way to South Africa. Let's move on, child. Let's talk about Colt and Jess, child. Now, as we know, they are in Brazil, and the night before, Debbie, Mama Colt, honey, cut a shine. Now, she said that she was tired, she was jet lagged, she was hungry, she was just all kinds of things. She wanted to be left alone, so she slamming doors, she throwing temper tantrum. Jess was all upset. She was like, what is going on? So it's the next day, and Jess and Colt, they go to dinner, and they are just talking about what happened the night before. Okay, now remember, Colt and his dumb self got a suite. The mama right there when you try to get busy. Colt does. So, he changed rooms, okay? He got him and Jess a room away from his mama. Okay, so that's good there. And Jess was like, listen, what was up with your mama? Why was she acting like that? She don't like me? What happened? And here's Colt. Excuse. She's tired. Excuse. She tired. Excuse. It was a long flight. Excuse. She tired. That's all he kept saying, that she was tired. And so Jess was like, well, I don't understand. Okay? Why is she acting like this? Okay, so again, Colt. Excuse. She tired. Excuse. She didn't cuss at you. Excuse. She wasn't mean to you. Excuse. She tired. So, of course, Jess is listening to all this, to Colt, and she seen how Mama Colt, Debbie, was acting. And who flashed up in front of her face, in front of her head, honey? Larissa, honey. And so she sat back thinking that, that daggone Larissa told me that Mama Colt was a wolf. I'm starting to believe it. Now, I'm not going to believe it just yet. I want to give her another chance. But she was really up there cutting the shine, slamming doors, barking at me, fussing at me, raising her voice. Maybe Larissa was right. I'm going to keep that in the back of my head. I'm going to keep that right here. I'm going to keep that right here. So, of course, Colt, he was like, listen, don't worry about it. Okay, my mom will come around. It's about me and you, And so Jess was like, you're right. It is about me and you. And then they started having a conversation about their parents. Colt, he lost his father, a heart attack, and she lost her mother to cancer. So they have a bond right there. They both know how it feels to lose a parent. Honey, I'm right there with you, honey. That is a pain that will never, ever go away. Trust. So they're just talking about how, how it feels to lose, a parent. And Colt says, listen, okay, I want to take care of my mom. Okay, I'm all she has. All right, she may not be the perfect person, she may not be the sweetest person, but that's my mama, and I'm here to take care of her. Yes, I know she's overprotective, and I know she crossed lines when she should cross lines, but that is still my mama, and I feel like that I should take care of her. Okay, and so Jess was like, you know what? It's cool. Don't even worry about it. We gonna meet my family tomorrow, and we gonna get good old Debbie drunk. And Colt said, well, she do like to drink, child. So the plan is to get Mama Colt drunk. Hey, everything will be good. So it's the next day, and Colt, he meets up with his mom at breakfast, and he just tells his mom, he says, listen, the way you acted, you was just really carrying on. Okay, and Jess feels like that you don't like her. I know you were tired. I know you wanted your space. I know I messed up the room. And so Mama Colt was like, listen, why did you do that? You think I want to hear my son and Jess, having sex? Absolutely not. And so, of course, Mama Colt feels like that Jess is using Colt, to have a green card. And of course she don't trust her, and so Colt says, listen, we are here. You need to make the best of it. You're not going to ruin this. Y'all, the bottom line is Mama Colt was fine until Colt and Jess talking about kids. And that was a wrap. Honey, Mama Colt became violently ill, honey. Honey, her stomach was tore up when she heard kids. Kids. That is the whole point of Mama Colt not liking Jess. Okay? Because Debbie says, listen, he ain't never mentioned kids. He never said that he liked kids. But now all of a sudden, he wants to have kids with a woman that he don't even know? Oh, no. Not on my watch. Mama Colt sees it as being concerned for her son. Everybody else sees it as being overprotective. And I think a little bit jealous. I see a little jealousy with Debbie towards Colt. How dare you, get involved with a girl that I don't even know about, and now y'all talking about kids? So anyway, Colt, he tells her, he was like, well, I'm just going to tell you. Jess may be the woman for me, okay? I can see myself having a future with Jess. Child, Mama Colt almost choked on that French toast, which looked delicious. Was it French toast or was it pancakes? I don't know, but it looked good. And some fruit too. Oh, Lord. So anyway, of course, Mama Colt said, well, listen, you have made a mistake in the past. Let's not forget Larissa and everything she put us through. Okay? Just hold off on that. Don't move too quickly. He was like, listen, okay? You need to get to know Jess. Just in case she may be your daughter-in-law. Talk to her a little bit. Maybe y'all can have a little bit of an understanding. You was up in that room last night cutting a shine, and you need to apologize. So Mama Colt, Jess is out there by the beach. Mama Colt goes out there, and she says she needs to talk to Jess. Get to know her a little bit. And she goes and she talks to Jess, and she apologized. She says, listen, I do apologize with how I acted, and I just wanted to tell you I was tired. Okay? So Jess was like, okay. So then, honey, Mama Colt said, well, let's just talk about this and these kids, child. You really want to have children with my son? You don't even know my son. Why you moving a little too fast for me? You don't even know each other. And so Jess was like, listen, Colt talks about kids all the time. It ain't my fault he don't talk about kids to you because he sure enough talk about kids to me. And so, of course, Debbie and her are going back and forth about, Colt and Larissa in the past. And Debbie was like, listen, are you in it for a green card or not? That's what I need to know. Because you're moving a little too fast. And, of course, this, offends Jess. How dare you old bat. Okay? I love Colt. Don't compare me to his ex. I'm not Larissa. Okay? Don't try me. She didn't really say that, but she got a little upset. And who flashed in front of her face? Who was in back here? Who was back here? Who was back here? Larissa. And she says, I believe Larissa. She says, I believe what Larissa said about Debbie. What do y'all think is going to happen when Colt finds out that Larissa and Jess have been talking? Let's talk about it down below. Alright, let's talk about Larissa real quick. I ain't gonna keep y'all. So, Larissa, alright, we all know she has a past, okay? She likes to put her hands on people, so she on probation. Alright? Now she has to go and meet up with her fine attorney. Honey, ain't he cute? Ooh, Lord, honey. He is some kind of fine, honey. That is why Larissa stayed in trouble. See, she stayed in trouble so she could go back and forth and be with that fine attorney, honey. So either way, she meets up with the attorney. The pleasantries. Hey, how you doing? Everything good? You good? Okay, Larissa said that she's doing well. Okay, the attorney is saying, hey, you know, your probation's working out well. You did your community service. You're doing your anger management. On my end, you look pretty good. Okay, now what's up with you? So then, you know, she was, you know, jokey about her being his assistant. You know, she was like, you know, I can work for you. I can work for you, you know. And he was like, no. He was like, you ain't stepping foot. You ain't working nowhere near me. Nowhere near me. Okay? Somebody had asked, you know, how is she paying for all this stuff? A lawyer and her face done. And I'm sure 90 Day Fiance can answer that. 90 Day Fiance. Can y'all answer that question? How is she paying for all this? Anyway, so she brings up Eric. Now, we all know her and Eric. She took out paper on Eric. So the lawyer was real quick. He says, now listen, I'm not trying to get in your business. That's not my job. My name Bennett and I ain't in it. But what I'm telling you is that if you choose to be with Eric, take heed. Okay? Now, it ain't none of my business. But if you choose to date this man, just know that if you get in any type of trouble, that means you may get deported. You understand me? If you put your hands on Eric, you may get deported. Your green card is bye. Okay? So I think that you should think long and hard before you get into a relationship with Eric. So, of course, Larissa, she's looking all cockeyed. And she was like, I understand, blah, blah, blah. Honey, she wasn't listening to that. Because what did she do? She went right on into the restaurant and met up with Eric. Side note, that little dress that she had on, or was that a shirt? That thing was cute. I was like, Larissa, you better wear it, honey. It was adorable. So, anyway, she meets up with Eric. And they talk about a few things and heeing and hawing. Okay. So then it comes up that she says, listen, the reason why I really wasn't down with you is because you was cheap. And he was like, cheap? And she was like, yeah, you need to spend some money. He said, so you're going to tell me how I'm supposed to spend my money? She said, yes. And he said, what should I spend my money on? And she said, my boobs. Larissa said, I need titties. T-I-T-T-I-E-S. Titties. Titties. And so he was like, I'll do what now? Titties. And so she was like, yes, you need to spend some money on me. She was like, but you know what? We're working it out. We're going to see where this relationship goes. And I got another thing. My homegirl, my roommate, the one I'm living with, where I had nowhere to go, I live with her. She don't like you. So he was like, oh, she don't like me. She said she don't like you because, see, when me and you was going through our problems, I told her everything you did to me. So she took my side. And so he was like, oh, okay. He said, well, you know, eventually you're going to have to tell her about us, right? You do know that. And so she was like, I understand. So here comes the waitress with the check. And he paid it. And she was like, oh, well done. You know, that's a good start. That's a good start. So she goes back to her house. And she called her roommate in, honey. And so she sat down. The roommate was like, what's up with you? What's going on? She said, here, I'm just here to tell you, honey, I'm back with Eric. And so her homegirl, her roommate said real quick, you told me a lot of bad things about him. Why would you go back to him? That's one. Two, I don't like him based on what you told me. And you think you're going to live underneath my house? Now, who paying half her rent? Larissa, who paying your rent, Gab? 90 Day Fiance, can you answer that? So, she looked at Larissa and she said, get out. Okay? I don't know where you what you gotta do is take your feet to the street. Get out. And honey, she got up and she walked out. I said Larissa's face is good and cracked. Honey, they showed Larissa outside on the curb talking about FML. Larissa, you a whole fool, child. Let's move on. Alright, we'll make this real quick. Asuela and Kalina. Alright, as we know, Asuela just acted a real fool. Cut her shine, acted like a child, threw a temper tantrum. Now they back home. Okay, and Asuela was like, things been tense since we got home. See, they ain't talking to me. Okay, they still mad at me of how I acted at the birthday party. Okay, so here comes Papa Lowe. And I said, oh, here we go. Papa Lowe said, Asuela, get in the truck. We need to go walk the dog. And so Asuela know what that means. He says, oh, I know, Lowe, every time when he wants me to go with him to walk the dog, we need to talk. And Papa Lowe fed up, y'all. He told this boy, he said, what happened at this birthday party? Now, I had told you time and time again, don't try me. Don't try me. Now, I told you, do you still want your teeth? You think I'm playing? You think I'm playing? Don't play me. So he said, what happened? So here comes Asuela trying to explain the whole argument that went down in the car. He says, listen, I said that Samoan women are better than American women and American women is lazy. Now, Papa Lowe says, now listen, I know about that culture. I know what Asuela was talking about. But I also raised my daughter. You don't go by that. You have to be independent. You think, for yourself, be a strong woman. Is that what you told your daughter, Papa Lowe? Because she did the complete opposite. She married a 12-year-old who still eat goldfish and suck down juice boxes, who throw real temper tantrums. That's what she married. But let's move on. So, Papa Lowe says he understands, but you ain't gonna be talking to my daughter and my wife any type of way. And so here comes Asuela talking about, yes, we was in the car and I have anger problems. I got upset and I cussed. Now this is where I had to stop right here. I was like, wait a minute. Yes, you cussed. But one thing he did tell Papa Lowe, he did not tell Papa Lowe that he called Kalina the B word. You left that out, slow-mo. You left that out, Asuela. You left that out, special. You left that out. Where your helmet at? See, you need a helmet so Papa Lowe can bust you upside your face. Make me sick. So here's Papa Lowe. Papa Lowe said, I'm tired of giving you breaks. I don't want to put my hands on you, but you're really pushing it. You can't be up in that car cussing at my daughter and my wife. You ain't doing that. And you still haven't apologized, but you're gonna apologize, right? Here comes Asuela. Yeah, it's hard for me to apologize because I don't know how to apologize. Because of the language. He gonna talk about he don't know how to apologize because of a language barrier or whatever. He's using the excuse that he can't really talk or explain himself. How hard is it to say I'm sorry and I acted like a dick? How hard is that, Asuela? Papa Lowe gave him a final warning. He said, apologize, keep your mouth shut, and man up. Now, I have threatening you for the last time. The next time, it's the space and opportunity is over. It's just going to be opportunity. And this right cheek is going to meet the left with your simple self. Asuela the simple. Child. Let's move on, honey. Asuela, get on my... Let's move on. Now, Andrei. Boy, Andrei, he was already a jerk in the United States. But since he have went back to Moldova, he has become a prick. Andrei is cutting a shine. Andrei and Elizabeth are getting on my nerves. What's wrong with Elizabeth? I mean, really, this can't be real. Is it real, y'all? She really acting like this? Okay, well, let's talk about it. So, Andrei and Elizabeth is on their way to look at wedding venues. Now, his dad is there with the baby. Now, while they're going inside of said wedding venue, the dad and the baby stay in the car. Why didn't they just stay home? What's going on? So anyway, so they go inside the first venue. Elizabeth said, absolutely not. I don't like it. It's at a strip mall. It's a casino at night. The inside looked tacky. It was just a no. Okay, so they start looking at the menu, and so she says, listen, my parents, my family are coming, and they're not used to this food. See, I like the food, but they're not used to it, so we're going to need to, change up this menu a little bit, like give them some options. And here is Andrei. Andrei said, well, there's a McDonald's across the street. Now, instead of Elizabeth elbowing him in the jaw, she was like, stop! Again, his father-in-law is paying for this. And Andrei said there's a McDonald's across the street. See, screw your family. They'll eat what we give. See, that's how I roll over here in Moldova, and they gonna like it. So, of course, that was a bust. So they get outside, and they're talking to the producers, all right? They fussing, they going back and forth, and they yelling. He's interrupting her, and she was like, shut up! Let me get it out! And so then he says, you're being annoying, you. Let me ask y'all some friends. Did he call her the B word? Did he call her the B word? Now, I ain't going to say he did because I don't know. They bleeped it out. Did he call her a B word? Leave it down below, child. So she was like, forget it. I'm not even going to talk to you. So she storms off, and he was like, what are you doing? You going home? And then he was like, okay, come here, leave, come back, leave, come back. So she threw a temper tantrum. She's upset with him because, of course, he's being his, chauvinistic ways. He's talking down to her. He's disrespecting her. He's disrespecting her family. So, of course, he goes, looking for her. They come back. They start talking. They're arguing. They get to the car. They're arguing in front of the baby. They're arguing in front of his daddy. He done called her a brat. I mean, just a mess. Just a mess. And again, Elizabeth says, I don't know why he's acting like this. I mean, ever since he came back to his Moldova country, he's really cutting up. Is it? Is that it, Elizabeth? Or maybe this is who you truly married. But anyway, I guess you don't see none of that because you're too foolish. Your eyes are too fogged up with foolishness. So, they go to the second venue. Very nice. Okay? Elizabeth really liked it. Okay? So, they start talking about pricing, and I think it was like for 60 people, $5,400. And then they had a little tasting of the food. And it was really good. She brought up, options. And they had options. They had like, chicken and, other things that her family can enjoy. Because her father is paying for it. So, they're talking back and forth with the wedding planner, the venue person, and here's Andrei with his cocky self. Did y'all notice when Elizabeth touched him on his arm or on his back, he moved her hand, he swiped her hand out the way and said, stop. She's sitting over there looking like who done it what for. Embarrassed. Elizabeth, how many times you gonna be embarrassed, girl? How many times you gonna be looking at that camera like Ned in the funny papers? Just foolish. So, they agree on this venue, okay? Because again, you know, like Andrei says, it don't matter if it was $50,000. Your dad's paying for it, so whatever. So it's time for her to get baptized, okay? So she goes to the church, she gets baptized, and she keep talking about the difference between the men and the women and how the men, you know, are superior to the women and why the men can't wear the head garment, whatever. She also said that she didn't tell her family that she was getting baptized because, honey, they would have a fit. But of course, what Andrei wants, Andrei gets. So Elizabeth done got baptized. And plus, that's the only way they could get married if she was baptized. Anyway, they meet up with the mom and daddy. They go to the park. And here is Andrei, still being cocky, still being disrespectful, still being chauvinistic. Here's Elizabeth. I don't know why he's acting like that. He is confusing me. I can't take it. Blah, blah, blah. And then Andrei had the nerve to say, your family ain't gonna come here and disrespect my family. Your family ain't gonna come here and cut a shine because I will put them in their place. Again, who's paying for all this? Who paid for you to be over there, you goofy, sloop-footed, tall piece of trash, Andrei? Her father-in-law. Your father-in-law did. And you just talking, trying to disrespect it. Here's Elizabeth just looking at him. Ooh, Lord have mercy. So then they meet up with, was it his brother and wife or was it friends? Honey, I didn't like that girl. I didn't like that woman. That woman had an attitude jump street, okay? She already had an attitude with Elizabeth. So they get into the restaurant, and it was something about wearing a cross, or she's supposed to wear the cross. And Elizabeth said, well, I didn't know, you didn't tell me. Why didn't you tell me I'm supposed to wear it? So here is Andrei. Well, you're supposed to know. It's tradition. Just being condescending and snide and rude. He's being hateful. That's what he's being. He is being so hateful. And so here's that woman. I think that was his sister-in-law. Come talking about here, you know, the men rule. Okay? The men, you're supposed to listen to what your husband say. Whatever your husband say, you listen. You don't talk back. You listen. You shut up. You do what he says. That's tradition here. And so here's Elizabeth. She's biting her tongue. She's saying a couple of things, but she ain't saying what she need to be saying. Okay? She ain't saying, listen here, he ain't no man. He ain't even working. I work. He babysitting. He take care of the kid. My dad is paying for this. And he's sitting here, he disrespected my dad, my family, me. He's being hateful. Oh, honey, I would have told that. Listen, me and that girl, she would have understand every word I said because I would have cussed her. Lord have mercy. Just so I can cuss that heifer out. I would try my best to cuss her out. Just ridiculous. And then that heifer said, maybe y'all need to pick up a book and read it. Elizabeth, embarrass him. It's time for you to embarrass him. That's what it's time for. It's time for you to embarrass him. And then here comes Andrei. Let me. Andrei said, a man is the brains, a woman is the neck. And then he was like, oh. Elizabeth should have took a fork and jabbed him in the neck. Said, you talk about this neck. You old creep. That's it, y'all. That's it. I'm done. I can't talk about Andrei no more. And we see next week, honey, Andrei has a little bit of difficulties in his past. I cannot wait until Andrei and Elizabeth's brother get into a fight. I hope Elizabeth's brother bust him in his face. Y'all, I told y'all before, I want to see da-da-da-da-da-da-da. I want to see hands. I want to see hands. That's what I want to see. Elizabeth's brother, I hope you take his head off. Now, I'm not one for violence, but we're going to need a little. That's it, y'all. That is it. What did you think about this episode of 90 Day Fiance Happily Ever After? Y'all know the routine. Don't forget to hit that like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, friends, bye!